Okay, in this video, I want to talk about some feral or practical Furoshiki. So feral Furoshiki. Furoshiki is the Japanese art of wrapping and carrying items with cloth, with cloth of varying sizes. I think from a primitive skill standpoint, the ability to be able to use something as simple as a cloth to carry items from a minimalist standpoint is very important, and I think it would be quite convenient. So let's see, in the olden times in ancient Japan, furoshiki comes from people that would go to public baths, and they would wrap their clothing in a cloth so that it wouldn't get mixed up with other people's clothing. And then I think in the 30s, it was refined into a more art form, again, for different merchants and whatnot to be able to wrap their goods and services and be able to carry them or to wrap them in such a way that is very decorative as well. And so yeah, I would employ you if you're really into that sort of thing. Really, there's lots of references and resources both at the library but also on Google or YouTube for furoshiki. So our Japanese wrapping. It's not necessarily origami, it's furoshiki. Furoshiki. Alright, so I've got a couple of examples here that I've got. These are just basically batikked pieces of fabric that I got from the fabric store. And then I also have another one which is brightly colored. And the reason why I'm having these, I'm showing this brightly colored one and more than just one, is again, it's from a survival standpoint. You know, one is none, two is one, three is glee, four is more, and five keeps you alive. That's kind of my mantra with that. So there's, you know, more than one is definitely important to have in your kit or to carry with you, and especially if you're going on a day hike or something in the woods, or if you're in a forest somewhere, you may want to carry one that's really bright. Now, if you're sneaking and peeking and that's what you're doing, then you obviously want something darker. But from a safety standpoint, you want something brighter so that you can be seen. You can use it as a way to flag someone down. You could rip this up so that you could tie it to different bushes or tree branches to either tell people which direction you went, or to keep yourself from getting lost on the way back, so you will know where you were, and you just tie them however many paces or however many feet, so you can tell which path on the way back. So you know, many different uses of just a single piece of cloth. So that's something that I think is really kind of cool and important. So what I've got here is I've got a yard. So I went to the fabric store and I just got a yard of fabric here, and the yard is more rectangular. And for furoshiki, you want to use you want to have a square, okay? And so what I've done here, I'm gonna just lay this out. Set these aside, and then I'm gonna just lay this out so we can make a square, okay? So essentially, I lay this out like so, and I want to take one corner and I want to align it to the other side, and I want this corner here to be, you know, creased in the center, and then I can just follow this line here all the way down, and this will get me, and then this is the shape that we want, which is basically kind of a triangle, okay? And what I want to do is I want to cut along this seam here, if you can see it. All right, so I got a pair of scissors here, and so you don't have to do this, but it's better to do this with a square piece of cloth or a handkerchief, and you can use varying sizes. I think getting a yard of fabric and doing it in this fashion will get you your square, and it gets you a certain workable size that you can use. And so this becomes a triangle, right? that we can then use. This end piece here, you can break this down. You can also fold it up and add it to your kit as an extra piece. This is the piece that you could shred up or rip and tie up branches and different stuff, or to wave or flag somebody down if you needed it. Maybe something larger would work best, but then you don't necessarily have to discard this piece. This piece can be useful as well, but we'll set it aside for now. So just for those people that are interested and want to know the exact size that I'm working with here for this demo, let's see, where's my measuring tape? Oh, here it is. So basically what we're working with is approximately 3 feet. All right, 3 feet by 3 feet, approximately. So that's the size of cloth that we're going to use. Okay, so for the first one that I'm going to show you is I'm going to show you a square tuck handle bag. Now I'm not going to give you the actual names. I think that would confuse people in Japanese. So I'm just naming this based on where we are, how the orientation of our cloth, our square cloth. Okay. Before I do that, actually, I want to show you some knots so that you can understand what's going on here. So first, we're just a basic overhand knot on one side like that. So that's the first knot that we're going to be using. Another knot that we're going to be using is just like when you're tying your shoes, just an overhand knot with the two pieces here together, and you're just doing that, okay? And then the other knot that's stacked on top of it is another overhand knot, which becomes more or less a granny knot. Okay, so those are basically the ones that we're going to be focused on. Just a kind of a quick summary in case there's any confusion. So again, okay, so the first one that we're going to work on, we're going to make is a square tuck handle bag. All right, square tuck handle bag, and I'm just giving these names, not the traditional name, just so it's not confusing. And it's going to either start with a square or a triangle or a angle, right? And we're starting out with the orientation of having a square or having the point, meaning we're having the diamond or the angle here, like so. So hopefully this helps you remember, or you call them whatever you want. So we're going to do a square tuck handle bag. So basically I'm going to take the two ends here. I want to do an overhand knot like so, and then another knot on top of it so it becomes a granny knot. Then I want to take the other side and do the same thing. Okay, so I'm just going to do an overhand and then another overhand, becomes a square. Then I want to take this one, all right, and tuck it underneath this one. All right, but before we do that, I've got a bag here. It's got some items in here, basically some coconuts. We'll place this in the center. All right, so just to add some weight in this, to demo how this holds. So then I'm going to take this one here, and I want to tuck it through this one, like so. Okay, if that can be seen. All right, so then basically, I've got this bag like that. Okay. Okay. So, and that's pretty much how you can hold this. You can attach this to a pole or sling it over your shoulder, and you can hold items. So, you know, that's what I call the square tuck handle bag. All right, so just undo that like so. So this goes in there, and then you've got it like that. Okay, so that's the first one. So I'm going to undo this. The second one is going to be just a square bag. Okay, so again, our square bag is, we're going to start with the orientation of the square like so. I'm going to just do an overhand knot and just do that. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and take my item here, place it in the center, and I'll have to place it in there later. And I want to do the same thing on this side. just like that. Okay, just the overhand knot. Now, what I want to do is take these ends here, and then we're going to do overhand, and then another overhand with the short ends, like that. And then do another overhand with another overhand to make a square knot, like that, or excuse me, granny knot, square knot. And then now we have these handles that a handle like this. Okay, so that's how that's done. All right, so you can just kind of undo it, or you can pull your item out of the bag. Okay, just like so. So that's our second one, and that's our square bag, using a square. The next one is a single bottle sling. Okay, and this is useful when you're have bottles to carry, like water, for example. Let's see. We'll use a big one here, and we're gonna pretend this is full of water, and I just added some water for weight. And what we want to do is we want to start with a triangle, right? So we're gonna kind of fold this in half, so you know about roughly where to place the bottom. So it's somewhere in here, like so. Place it in the middle like that. Grab one end here, grab another end, and do an overhand knot like that. And then just right on top of the cap of the bottle, and then do another overhand, and then a smaller overhand on top of that. That will be your handle. Okay. But then next, we're going to take these wings here, and we're going to just wrap them around so that they come up in the front, like so. And then you can go ahead and do, a square knot. So overhand, and then another overhand, like that. And then now you've got a handle to carry your water. It also kind of can hide whatever this is. All right, so people in a grid down situation, everybody's going to be scrambling for resources. This would be an easy way to carry even more than one bottle on one hand if you had a bunch of handkerchiefs. Right away you can't really tell what might be in there. At least it doesn't look like water right away. It could be gasoline or anything. But this is a kind of a single bottle sling, like that. Okay. Okay, so the next one is going to be a triangle sling. So we're going to turn the orientation of our cloth like so, so there's a diamond with one point facing yourself. And then again, we're just going to put an item in here. We'll pretend like this is this is whatever the item is, okay? And what we want to do is take the two ends, and what we're going to do is just do our overhand knot again. There's a daisy. Our overhand like that, like so, and then make another one. Okay, and then we tuck these both inside like so, and just tuck them underneath. Right, so that's on top of that. Okay, and then what you do then is you take these ends here and you do kind of a small square knot or a granny knot. So overhand, then a small overhand on top of that, and then you can put your arm through and sling this over your head if it's long or big enough, or you can kind of carry it like so. Sometimes you can take some extra cordage to bind the ends like so, but just using one handkerchief like this, you can sling this over your head or sling it on your shoulder, and it'll help you can carry it. So this would be the triangle sling. So next I'm gonna go to my top three. So I saved my top three for last, and so you know I try to at least know 5 ways of doing one particular thing, or 5 methods. So this is actually 8 once we're all done. But I'm saving there's last 3, and then there's one more, which I think is definitely one to have in your toolbox. But if I don't remember anything else, at least I'll remember 3, or at least I'll remember one of the 3. You know, so if I memorize 5, I know I can. If I memorize and practice 5, I know I can come up with 3 out of those 5 if I don't remember them all. And in a pinch, at least I'll know one of some. The next one we're going to do is we're going to do inverted triangle bag. Right? So we're going to start off with a diamond shape, and then I'm going to fold this over, so that we're making a triangle. Okay. Doesn't have to really be perfect. You can make it perfect if you want. And then I just want to do overhead knot on the base angles, like this. Like that. Like that. So you want this formation, right? And then what I want to do is I want to take the top angles here and pull them down. So we're going to go inside out. So I'm basically going to take these wings and tuck these in there and flip it that way. So it's inverted triangle back. The top here, and make my handle by doing a granny knot. And inside of here, you can put, you know, whichever items that are tucked in here, right? So, for example, I can take my bag of coconuts and fit it into my triangle bag. All right. So it's like this. Okay, so that's that. Okay. So the next one of my top 3 is a double bottle sling, right? So, you know, let's say I have 2 bottles of water that I want to transport, okay? So I want to kind of put them in the middle, okay? There's a little space in between, and I want to fold this over the top, like so. Over the top, and then I can roll them in the triangle, and I set them up. I do want to roll. I can go ahead and set them up, and then I'm going to tie an overhead knot, and then tie a smaller overhead, and then another overhand to make a granny knot, or some people call it a square knot. And then now I can carry these just like so, very easy, right? Especially if they're smaller, okay? Also, this is a nice way to deliver, you know, if you're going to a dinner party or something, you want to bring 2 bottles of wine or whatever, plus maybe the handkerchief as a gift, a nice one from, you know, the store or whatever. This is also kind of an elegant way to deliver. But from a survival standpoint, this would be a cool way to carry a couple of bottles of water. And again, if I had 6 of them, I could, you know, I had more than 1 handkerchief, which I recommend that I could carry probably 1 on each finger, and so I could be able to carry that much more water with me more conveniently than holding them in my hands or trying to huddle with them like this to carry them. So that's a double bottle sling. Okay. Alright, so the next one is a triangle backpack. Okay. Now this size is 3 feet by 3 feet, so it's kind of small for my body. But I'm going to show you this simple way first, and then another alternate version for, you know, bigger people. So I make a triangle like so, and then what I want to do is I'm going to take the top point here, and I want to go ahead and make a square knot or a granny knot like so. And then, actually, I'm gonna make this a little bigger, like so. And we don't actually have to make a square knot or granny knot. You can if you want to, but you don't have to. We want these ears like that. Okay. And then we take one end here, and it helps to kind of twist a little bit, put a little twist in it, and then attach these two by making a square knot. So overhand, and then another overhand. That, and then do the same on the other side. I'm going to twist this a little bit, and then make a granny knot or square knot. Like so. And so here's our backpack that, you know, probably would be something that you could, you know, if you had a little one with you that could help carry things, and this would go on their back. So here's the straps, basically. The straps are like that. So these are the straps here, and then you go ahead and put this in here. And go ahead and put this in there and sling it around. But this won't fit me. It's too small, right? So what we'll do is the variation. Okay. So I'm gonna undo this. Here is the variation for the triangle backpack. So do the same with making a triangle in your handkerchief. And because it's square, it becomes an equilateral triangle, like this. Okay. And again, we're gonna start the same way. All right. We go ahead and put an overhand knot in here like so. We'll leave this open, okay? Because here's where the variation comes in, okay? You would need another handkerchief, a large one. And again, you would make this into a triangle, like so. And then you can take this and you can fold it if you want. That's the slow way. Otherwise, you can just kind of twirl it around like that, and you have a long end, which you're going to fit in. Well, there's two ways to do this. The first way is you can make an overhand knot or make a square knot, and then fit your handkerchief through here, like so. That's one variation. All right, like that. Okay, that's one variation. But the actual way to do it is to go ahead and start off with your ears. Place this handkerchief kind of in the middle, and then you're going to do an overhand knot and then another one to make your square knot or granny knot, like that. And then now this becomes a bigger strap, because then you just do the same as with the basic triangle knot, and you make a square knot connecting the ends here on each side. And then this becomes your backpack, and it's a little larger, and it could fit. I could wear it. It'll go over my arms and my body. So these are the loops, the straps, that, and then this is our bag. Okay, this is our backpack, like so. Okay. So this is how you'd make that. All right, so this is a variation of your triangle backpack. Okay, so that was my top three, which would be the inverted triangle bag, the double bottle bag, and then the triangle backpack. But for my size and the size of these handkerchiefs, which are 3 feet by 3 feet, I would need 2 handkerchiefs. So again, 1 is none, 2 is 1. It's best to have at least 2 or 3 because they're lightweight. They don't take up much room in a pack. and probably you'll probably be wearing one as a sweatband anyhow. So the next one that I think is important to know would be a reinforced basket. So I just did the 5 C's of survival, and I talked about carry of the 5 C's. You know, so it's cover, combustion, carry, then cutting and cordage, and that's the 5 C's of survival, made famous by Dave Canterbury of the Pathfinder School and of Dual Survival television show. So here's an item that I would carry, obviously a basket. But I've got there's a lot of holes in it, you know, there's a lot of holes in it. And I couldn't very well carry a lot of fine things like beans or rice or grains or something like that. Or even water, especially, right? So this is a method to where I can make this a little bit more serviceable for carrying smaller, finer items. So I'm going to start with a square, using the square ends here. I'm just going to tie, doing an overhead knot around one of the handles. Now it has to be a basket with a handle, okay, for this particular technique. So here's a basket and a handle. I'm going to go ahead and just do overhead knot in the front, and overhead knot behind, and then I'm going to do the same on the other side. I'm going to do overhead knot in front of the handle, and then overhead knot behind, and that should lock it into place. And now I've got a way to cover my basket, and now smaller items like grains or rice can't fall out, you know, small pebbles, depending on what project that I'm working on. And as long as I have you know, some sort of basket which provides the framework, but then a cloth, I can keep from losing smaller items if this is the only thing that I have. The other thing that I think is cool is as long as you have a handkerchief or even a piece of plastic, or rather especially a piece of plastic, I can, a square piece of plastic, 3x3 hopefully, I can do the same thing, and now I have a watertight vessel that I can carry water, okay? With a cloth, this would help me actually strain water. So I could, you know, if it's sandy water or water that's got, you know, a lot of sediment and debris in it, I can pour my water in here, and because it's cloth, the cloth will strain out, right? Especially right before I'm going to have to just disinfect it, to disinfect it to make it potable, make it drinkable, safe to drink. But if I use a piece of plastic, like a plastic bag from the grocery store, okay? I'm just going to undo this. Undo this, and this bag from the grocery store would work really well. It's about the right size. Make sure there's no holes in it. Okay, so a lot of them tend to have holes in them. Okay? That's the key. And you just take the handles. I already snipped the handles, and we just do the same thing. Overhand knot, and then overhead knot behind. Overhand knot, and then overhead knot behind. Now we've created a watertight basket to where I can cart or carry water. And so I'm going to demo that real quick just to be sure that this works. And those would be my top 3 plus 1 more uses or for Furoshiki. Okay, so before I tried it earlier with that grocery bag, actually the seams ended up busting, so make sure you use a strong grocery bag. But essentially I went on ahead and took a clean trash bag and just cut it open so it was large enough for me to wrap around. It was a brand new plastic bag or piece of plastic, and it's watertight. No water's leaking, and I can carry this water to where I need to go with it. And it's got a frame of the basket to hold everything together. Okay, so there you go. It could go on the outside, it could possibly be done on the inside. I think though you'll get a little bit more volume because of the bigger side. So you can do it either way, by wrapping it placing it inside or on the outside. Well, there you go. It's watertight.